So Destined Rivals is pretty much coming out in like roughly 2 weeks. So I thought it'd be a good time to just do a full set review and go over all the cards that will be in the set. Now, when I say that, I don't actually mean that I'll be going over every single card because a lot of them are not very good. Just pack fillers, stuff like that. But a lot of the cards are actually really good and pretty interesting. So I'll be going over as many as I can and try to make this video not insanely long. But anytime I say that, it normally goes pretty long anyway. So, be that what it will. That being said, before we get into the video, I want to give a shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody in general watching the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Really helps out the channel and goes a long way. Be sure to also let me know down in the comments section what card you're most excited for. And I will probably also be doing like a top 10 or top 5 card list or like cards to come out of the set later on as we get closer. And then I'm also going to a pre-release this weekend, so maybe I'll put something out for that, maybe I won't, I'm not really sure yet. But yeah, so just to get into it, we'll start at the very top. We'll go with, that being said, this video might be a little long, but I'm going to try to get it shorter. So just in preparation, grab a snack, grab a drink, enjoy your ride to work, or, pretending that you're actually doing your work at your office job while you listen to me talk about cards. But yeah, getting into the first card, we're going to be looking at Ethan's Pinsir. This card is okay. It's not really that great, but it does have application, where mostly because of its 1-point return attack, where it does 70 damage, and then if any of your Ethan's Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack of your opponent's Pokemon last turn, it does 100 more, which means it does have a decent revenge killing. Now, requiring 3 energies kind of sucks, but there are ways to power that up. More often than not, you're going to see this in the Macargo Ethan's deck that I'll talk about later on, but as a whole, it's okay. Probably won't see too much application though. Going into the next card, Yanma into Yanmega EX. Yanmega EX is actually very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of applications that can be done with this card, but I'm not really sure exactly how good it will be. But it's definitely on my radar. That's mostly because it has the Buzz Boost ability, where once during your turn, when this card is moved from the bench to the active, you can search your deck for up to 3 basic grass energies and attach them to this Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck, and then you can use the Jet Cyclone attack, which is for 4 energy, 3 grass, 1 colorless. Use the Jet Cyclone, where you do 210 damage, and then you move 3 energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So that's actually pretty interesting. And then I've also seen some variations of using this with like Wish Cash and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool as well. Definitely excited to see what this card is capable of. We see Pineco, Shroomish, Burloom, Free Luigi. Getting into the Cynthia's Roserade, which is the first trainer's Pokemon that I think is actually worth talking about. And that's because it has the Gloriel ability, where... Is that a typo? I feel like it would be a different name, but whatever. Your Cynthia's Pokemon do 30 damage more to your opponent's active Pokemon, and this does stack, so the more Roserades you have, the more damage you'll be doing, which is really, really good because it will help out your Gardevoir, or not Gardevoir, your Garchomp later on in the game. And so, yeah, I think this card is really interesting. I'll probably see it as a 2-of in most Cynthia decks. I think it's really good and pretty easy to set up. So that's a pretty good card to highlight there. Rotomo is okay, just kind of in that same vein as all the other ones. I guess we're just going to see this, where it just does more damage for all the tool cards attached to all your Pokemon. This is kind of interesting. If Double Turbo was still around, I would like this a lot, but I don't really know how good it's going to be. Shaman, very, very good. This is a card that I'm very excited for. It's probably, in my opinion, the best independent card to come out of the set, and that's because it has the Flower Curtain ability, where you prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon without a rule box by attacks of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, this does not stop Dracopult, unfortunately, but it does stop the Terra Box from being as annoying with the Teal Mask Ogerpon, or sorry, the Wellspring Ogerpon, which can be super annoying. It also helps you deal with Enged Darmanitan, which is going to be pretty important as well. And so yeah, that's definitely going to matter, help slow the game down as well, make your bench a little bit safer. And yeah, that's going to be very important. I think Shaman's really great. I wish we got the Psyduck in this that shut off Dusclops and stuff, but for right now, we'll just have Shaman, and that's fine. Speaking of things that do want to be protected, though, and also something that's pretty good, we do have the new Crustle, and this card's pretty cool. Just another wall card. They seem to be printing a lot of those recently. So it has the Mysterious Stone Home, where you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX, which is pretty good. It's just like a better Mimikyu. Yes, it takes more to attack with it, and yes, it is a stage 1, but like when you put this on and then you put like a Luxurious Cape, you're really, really tanky. It's really difficult for your opponent to deal with you. You do one-shot a Cornerstone that would be in the active that tries to get around you. So if your opponent doesn't have a specific out to this, it can be pretty hard for them to deal with. And you're doing 120 damage, and it's not affected by the effects of your opponent's Pokemon, which is also pretty good because again, it helps you get past your Cornerstone matchup. So this card in wall decks or just its own dedicated deck is pretty good. I would say it's just objectively better than Aegislash as well. So that's definitely something to look into. I'll probably end up building a deck around that. The rest of these cards don't really matter all that much. Teams Rockets, Billbug? Is that how you're supposed to say it? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Applin, Diplin, again, don't really matter because we have Festival Lead versions that are just better. But we do get this Hydrapple, and I think this Hydrapple is actually not terrible because you could add this into as like a one-of copy into your Festival Lead deck, and then for 1 Grass Energy, it has the Hydro Breath, where you discard 6 basic Grass Energy from your hand in order to knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. And if you can't discard the 6 basic energy this way, this attack does nothing. But I think since, like, let's say you have 2 Grookeys on the field or something like that, you could have this, and if you have, let's say, 2 energy already in hand, you can always just run a copy of, like, Superior Energy Retrieval, search it out with Grookey, discard 2 other cards, get this, take your last 2 prizes if you're in a situation where you can't get a knockout. I don't know how good this will be, but that's like, I feel like playing it as a one-of might be good. It might be terrible. I'm not really sure. But it's worth testing out, and I'll probably be messing with it as well. Team Rocket with the Spite Ops is actually also very, very good. There's a lot of really good cards in this deck, in this set, which is why I feel like talking about this set is going to take a little while. But yeah, we have the ability Charging Up. Once during your turn, you can attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. On its own, this isn't really that great because it only does 30 damage, or 30 times damage, and the attack is 30 damage for each Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. This with some Area Zero Underdepth or something like that could be okay. It powers itself up pretty easily, but it's not really the start of the show. It's really where it's going to excel. Is going to be alongside the Mewtwo EX, so keep that in mind for sure. Going down, this card is okay. The Abralov, I think is how it's supposed to be pronounced, Abralov EX, mostly because it has the Oil Machine Gun, which I'm curious to see if that gets reworded later on. But for a Grass Energy, you choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times, and then you do 20 damage to it. And you can pick the same thing multiple times, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's just a fun way to spread damage around. I could see this being with, like, as a 1/1 line, or like adding it into Frostlass decks just to add that extra spread damage around. It doesn't have an ability, it's only 1 energy, It's got a pretty decent hit point total, and fire's not too much of a problem right now. So yeah, I could see that becoming a little bit more common. The Rapska EX is kind of worthless. Moving into fire Pokemon, we have the Team Rocket's Moltres EX. I think this card is okay, not really that great. It does have the Flame Screen, which is it does for a fire and 2 colorless, it does 110 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage. I don't think that's great, but it is okay. You do also get the other attack, the Evil Burn, which is 1 fire, 3 colorless, which is something you can power up semi-consistently. But you discard a Team Rocket's energy from this Pokemon. If you do, discard your opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached, which is a very strong effect. I don't know how often you'll be able to actually get this to work, though, and that's going to be its biggest problem, but it definitely could be something that's pretty annoying. Going into my favorite, or one of my favorite cards from this set, is going to be Ethan's Typhlosion, comboing that with Ethan's Quilava. The Quilava has the ability Adventure Bond, where once during your turn, you can search your deck for an Ethan's Adventure, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. That's going to be very important because going into Ethan's Typhlosion, we have Buddy Blast, which this is pretty much just Leon's Charizard, where you do 40 damage, and then this attack does 60 more damage for each Ethan's Adventure card in your discard pile. You can have 4, so you're going to be doing like 300 damage, I think, or it's 280, sorry. You're going to be doing 280 damage with all 4 Ethans in the discard pile. With a Black Belt training, you're pretty much one-shotting everything, but you can also run Gravity Mountain, put everything in range that you're one-shotting. It doesn't really matter that it also affects you because of the fact that you're going to get one shot back no matter what as a 1 prize, and also, you know, it doesn't really matter. Your HP's so low already, so it's fine. But yeah, a Gravity Mountain, Black Belt training. You could also, if you want, you could run a Max Belt just to push your damage even further. And yeah, you're going to be taking 1 prize knockouts a lot, or 2 prize knockouts a lot, trading up. I think this is really, really good. I'm very excited to play this deck. It's probably going to be the deck I play the most coming out of this set, but I'm very, very excited for it. Ethan's Macargo is a little less interesting in my opinion. It just has the Melt and Flow. If this Pokemon has no energy attached, it has no retreat cost, which is okay, but it has the Lava Burst for 3 fire energy. It does 70 damage, and you discard up to 5 fire energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 70 damage for each you discard this way. So you can do a lot of damage, and what's nice is that you'll be able to combo it with a card that's coming up with the Ethan's Ho-Ho, and that's pretty cool. It's kind of roguey, but I think it's okay. It's definitely going to be a card I'd play, but will it be good? Probably not. Team Rocket's Houndour and Houndoom, not really worth all that much, if I'm honest. Going into the Ethan's Ho-Oh, like I was talking about, you do get the Golden Flame ability, where once during your turn, you can attach up to 2 basic fire energy from your hand to one of your benched Ethan's Pokemon. This is why we are going to be able to power up that Pinsir like we were talking about before. You can use its attack if you want, but you don't really have to. Again, it's also a way to power up your Macargo and get that to attack kind of consistently. This is also something that should be noted. The new Torchic is good because it does have the collect ability, or the collect attack, as well as Combustion for 10 damage for 1 energy. Just making it slightly better than the already existing Torchic that we have. Same thing with the Combustion. Just having the 1 energy for 20 damage is just better than what we already have on the regular Combustion. So it just kind of replace yours with these if you want to be the most optimal, but you don't really need to. It's just like kind of nice. Going into the new Blaziken, this new Blaziken is also not terrible, and if you're going to be playing a Blaziken deck, you may as well play 1 copy of this, as mostly for the Inferno Legs attack, which is for 2 fire energy and 1 colorless. You discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 112 112. I'm being super dyslexic. does 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so it just gives you an extra little snipe tool that's pretty easy to power up when all is considered. We also have the Heat Rotom, which is the same as all the rest. For 2 colorless energy, it does 30 damage. This attack does 30 damage for each Pokemon tool card attached to all your Pokemon. This is okay. Again, not anything too exciting, but it is nice that you have a whole bunch of different Rotoms, so theoretically, you could play this in like a weird toolbox deck and be able to hit for either like, hit for weakness and stuff like that, which I think is kind of fun, but probably not all that great, but I may try to make it work. Going down, we have Misty Psyduck, and honestly, all of the Misty's cards suck. They're really, really bad, except I will be trying to make Misty's Gyarados work, but honestly, again, all these cards are really bad, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to see Misty's cards get some love, but the best card out of all the Misty's cards is the Misty's Gyarados, which just has the Splash Panic, which does 70 damage, and you discard the top 7 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage, times the amount of Misty's Pokemon you discarded this way, so it's not even like great. Like, you can't even really use like, you can set up a bunch of Psyducks and try to do it that way. Like, you could just go like Buddy Poffin, get yourself 4 Psyducks, and then you can use these, but like, even then it's only once per turn. I'm not sure if it stacks. I'm not sure. I'd have to try. I don't really remember. But even then, you have to discard the bottom card of your deck in order to use it. So then, like, you're discarding that. You're discarding even more with the Misties, so it's just not great. Going into the next card that actually is good, though, we have the Team Rocket's Articuno with the Resistance Veil, and then you prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to your basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. This is actually pretty nice. It does just give you a little bit more protection for your Team Rocket's Pokemon, which is nice. Never going to complain about that. So definitely a one of in Team Rocket's decks. My Loic sucks. There's just really no point in looking at that. Clamperl with Huntail and Gorbis is a very fun, dumb rogue deck idea where you get to use these Diver Catch ability of Huntail, where whenever one of your water Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack of your opponent's Pokemon, you may put all basic water energy attached to that Pokemon into your hand instead of the discard pile. And then you have Gorbis, which has the Crescendo Wave, where it does 30 damage, and then this attack does 30 damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Before doing damage, you may attach any number of basic water energy from your hand to this Pokemon. So as long as you have Huntail, every time your Gorbis gets knocked out, all that energy goes back to your hand, and then you can use Gorbis again. But in reality, I'm going to be using Huntail probably with Wailord, so that way whenever your Wailord gets knocked out, you just like get all those energies back and you get to like repower up other Wailords and stuff. I feel like that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't think it's bad at all. The rest of these cards are pack filler. Again, we have our Rotom Wash that has the same item style attack, which is again nice just to give us type coverage. If a deck like this becomes useful, it's going to be nice to have those kind of random options. We do have the Sultitan. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. Has the Snow Cover ability, where whenever your opponent plays an item or supported card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. And then you get to have the Crush Press attack for 3 water and a colorless. You do 140 damage, and then you may discard a Stadium in play, and if you do, this attack does 140 damage more, so you're hitting for 280. That's okay. I think the main thing is, like, Snow Cover being useful is like, you know, pretty nice, but I don't see this card being great, if I'm being completely honest, but, you know, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like a lot of the cards in this set and in the next set are cards that they're like reprinting old cards on new ones, if that makes sense. So this is just like Primal Groudon, and like that used to be great, but I feel like the game has evolved so much that like this is only okay. Dodonzo EX, you have the Tsunami Revenge, where you do 30 damage, and then this attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So, just a nice rage attack. And then you have the Dynamic Dive, does 120 damage, and then you can do 120 more damage. And if you do, this Pokemon does 50 to itself, putting it down to 210, which means pretty much everything's going to be able to knock it out, and you're only doing 240. So not very good in that regard, to be honest. Moving on, we have Electivire EX, which is a card that I actually like a lot. Mostly I just like Electivire, and I wish there was more stuff with it. It has the Dual Ball attack, which this attack does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Considering you can power this up pretty quickly, like if you go first, you can, your opponent will go, they'll put out their basics, you go, you evolve into Electivire, then, you can start sniping 50, which could lead to some knockouts potentially. It gives you a Badoo out. It's not terrible, but it does have the high voltage press, which is 180 damage, and then if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra energy attached to it, you do 100 more. So now you're hitting 280. You do need 5 energy, but in an electric deck, think of being able to use like Electric Generator and stuff like that, or a Magneton or whatever. I actually don't think it's that terrible. 280, being able to do that pretty quickly isn't bad. Obviously, there's other electric cards we'd want that much energy on, but I think it is usable. We have Team Rocket Zapdos. This card is, again, only okay. It does have, for 2 colors energy, having the Jamming Wing, which does 30 damage, and then you can move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon. So it's always nice to have energy disruption. Never really going to be that upset with that. And then it has the Dark Thunder, which is 60 damage, and then if this Pokemon has a Team Rocket's energy attached to it, this attack does 60 damage more. So for 120, honestly not great, but having the energy manipulation is like the more important part of it. Ethan's Pichu has the Sparking Draw attack for 0 energy, just, completely for free. It does 30 damage, and then you draw a card. This is, in theory, a nice Badoo counter, because you can just knock out Badoo and get yourself a card, but I feel like this is kind of a bait. I feel like I'd rather just attack back with Badoo. Like, I'd rather us both be item locked than the one card, but this could end up actually being really good, especially for lightning decks, I feel like, that just don't want to play Badoo. Like, they just want to be able to get that initial knockout, get themselves the cards, like, stuff like that. I think it's fine. So this card definitely could see some play. Definitely worth picking up a copy of that. The Team Rocket's Ampharos isn't really great. It has the Darkest Impulse ability, where if you have any or if you have Team Rocket's Ampharos in play, whenever your opponent plays a Pokemon from their hand to evolve one of the Pokemon during their turn, put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon. This effect doesn't stack. If it did, it'd be really cool. And that's the main reason why I don't think it's going to be very good, just because it doesn't stack, and so the amount of effort to create this isn't really worth it, in my opinion, but who knows, it could be. We have Rotom, which is the same as all the other ones. Again, it's just the lightning type. So, I guess keep that in mind. We do have Team Rocket's Hypno, which is pretty cool. It's for 3 psychic energy. It has bench manipulation. This does 80 damage, and then your opponent flips a coin for each of their bench Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each Tails, which I just think is fun. I don't think it's inherently great, if I'm honest. Like, it's pretty bad, but it's also kind of wacky and fun. So if I can make a deck out of this, I definitely will try to. Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. This is one of the first, probably main Team Rocket's cards. It has the Power Saver ability. This Pokemon cannot attack unless you have 4 or more Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. Honestly, that's not that bad, because you're going to want to have 2 Mewtwo, 2 Spidops, and a Articuno. So as long as you have those, you'll be pretty much fine, and you'll be able to replace those pretty easily with all said and done, you have the Eraser Ball, which does 160 damage, and then you can discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon. This attack does 60 more damage for each card you discard this way. So when you're adding all that damage up, you're going to get to be able to hit for 280, which is pretty nice, especially too. Mewtwo being a basic at 280 is a very good number to be at, especially for a basic. Now, the darkness weakness could end up being a little annoying as time goes on, but I think it's pretty good. The other thing too is like you can slap a Bravery Charm on this if you want, power that up. You could go Max Belt, add more damage. Because of the Spite Ups, you never really have to worry about having to discard the energy and get them back, so that works out in that sense as well. You also have Team Rocket's Wobbuffet. This is a card that I want to give some mention to, because for a Psychic and a Colorless, you have Rocket Mirror, where you move all damage counters from one of your benched Team Rocket's Pokemon to one of your opponent or to your opponent's active Pokemon. This could be really good in a. It makes me want to play something like Prime Catcher, or you don't even really need to play Prime Catcher because of the fact that there's Team Rocket's Giovanni later on. But if you slap like a Bravery Charm on this, let's say you eat the 300 damage, you could go Team Rockets, move Wobbuffet in, and then move all that damage off, healing your Mewtwo and dealing 300, which would be pretty impressive. I don't know how much that situation will come up, but I do think it's kind of cool. We can skip all the Stevens cards because they're bad and don't really matter. We have Team Rocket's Mimikyu, which is the worst pre-release card ever because it literally is like not usable. But with that being said, it is a good card because you have the Gem Mimicry attack for a Psychic and a Colorless, and you choose an attack of your opponent's active Terra Pokemon, and you can use the effect of that attack. This is really good because it's just generic. You can slap it into any Psychic deck or something that wants to run Psychic already. So think of like Gardevoir and stuff like that. It means that you not only are you able to copy Dracopult, but like if you're already playing Clefairy, then you're one-shotting. And I think it's pretty good. So definitely something to look out for there. The Orbeetle isn't great, if I don't remember correctly. As often as you like during your turn, you can move one damage counter from one of your Team Rocket's Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. This is, again, okay, but not probably worth playing. I don't think I would run it in any of my decks. I do want to talk about the Annihilape real quick. It has the ability Vessel of Rage. I don't know why I said Vile. If this Pokemon has 2 or more damage counters on it, the attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's super, super good. Just getting 2 damage counters on you is super easy to do, and doing an additional 120, again, for 2 fighting energy, you get the Impact Blow where you're doing 160 damage. So you're hitting for 280. I don't know why 280 is becoming like the number everything seems to hit for, but you end up doing 280 very, very easily on a one prizer that's super big, very similar to Ethan's. There's a lot of ways to kind of push that damage up a little bit more, which is very nice as well. So definitely something to consider there. I think this card is definitely very good. We also have a lot of other really good Annihilape cards. Seems like Annihilape gets a lot of love, but makes sense why. Ethan's Sudowoodo is awesome. I'm a huge fan of this card, just specifically because it's just Knackle, or a Knackley essentially, where you get for 1 fighting energy, you do 20 damage, and then your opponent can't retreat on the next turn. So they just become retreat locked, and that's awesome. Any retreat locker is always welcome, especially in an Ethan's deck. You can just slap that bad boy right in there. You're already playing all the other cards, you may as well have it. And the fighting typing of it is very good, the same way that Knackle is, because of the fact that if your opponent is playing a Latios based deck, they, play the Latios into the active, or even if they don't, it doesn't matter. You just boss it up, play your Sudowoodo, and you start attacking. They have resistance, so you're never actually dealing damage, and you just trap them there indefinitely. Team Rocket's Tyranitar is a trap. It's not good. It has the ability Sandstorm, where as long as this Pokemon is in the active, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's basic Pokemon during Pokemon Checkup. There's a lot of things about that seem fun. It has the Breakthrough Tackle attack for 1 fighting and 3 colorless. where you do 180 damage, and then you discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. These things in combination are really fun, but the attack is really, it's just too much energy and doesn't do enough damage, and you're not bulky enough to survive an attack, so it kind of sucks. Also, the fact that it's only your opponent's basic Pokemon also sucks. If it was just your opponent's Pokemon in general, then it would actually be good. But yeah, as of right now, that card is kind of a bait, and I would steer away from it. Regirock EX is also kind of a bait. The only main attack that it has that's like decent is the Giant Rock, which is a fighting and 3 colorless. Again, this should be cheaper, and it does 140 damage, and then if your opponent's active Pokemon is a stage 2, it does 140 more, so again 280. The problem here is that you're not one-shotting Dracopult, which is the card that you'd want to be able to one-shot, and your attack is way too expensive. So again, this card is just not very good. I wish it just did more damage or was a cheaper attack is going to be the main two things. Getting into cards that don't suck, though, we're going to have Cynthia's Gabite and Cynthia's Garchomp. Both of these cards are great. We have Cynthia's Garchomp, or Gabite, with the King's Call ability, which is ironic because all Garchomps are female in the Pokemon TCG. So that's just something I thought was interesting to point out, considering it's King's Call. But yeah, once during your turn, you can search your deck for Cynthia's Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. That means that you're going to be able to get your all your Cynthia's Pokemon very, very consistently. Then there's also Cynthia's Garchomp EX, and then you have the first attack for 1 fighting energy. You have Spiral Dive for 100 damage, and then you can draw cards until you have 6 in hand. So you're going to be able to buff that with the Roserades, but also just having a way to draw yourself new hands and stuff like that is always good. But then for 2 fighting energy, you have the Dragon Buster for 260, and then you discard all energy from this Pokemon. That's really not that bad. 2 energy is pretty easy to get back. You could throw a Power Glass on this, get that super consistently. Again, let's say we have 2 Roserades, you're pretty much one-shotting everything. So definitely a very good card in that regard there. Moving forward, all of the Arven cards suck, so we're not going to be bothering to look at those. The next fun card to look at, which is also kind of bad, is Team Rocket's Arbok, because it has the intimidating glare ability, where if this Pokemon is in your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any Pokemon that has an ability from their hand. This is just kind of fun in a deck, like if you want to play like Alakazam or some kind of control deck or something. This can be fun. The fact that you have to evolve into it kind of sucks. I wish it was just like on an Ekans or something, but for obvious reasons that can't be allowed. And then for 3 Dark Energy, you have Spinning Tail. This attacks 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That doesn't really matter, but if you have them locked, then it can be good. But yeah, it's a fun card, but probably not very good. Team Rocket's Nidoqueen, Love Impact for 1 Dark. This does 60 damage, and then if you have any bench Pokemon with Nidoking in its name, this attack does 120 more. So you're going to be hitting for, again, you guessed it, 180. In this case, it's not 280 though, so you were wrong. But I'm actually surprised it's not 280. But yeah, I think it's interesting. We've seen a lot of cards like this where they're comboed, but it's not that great. Team Rocket's Nidoking EX I love Nidoking, one of my favorite Pokemon, so it's definitely a card I'm going to be putting some effort into trying to make work. It's going to be a little rough though, because its only really usable attack is for 2 Dark Energy and 1 colorless, where it has the Dirty Horn attack for 100 damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During Pokemon Checkup, put 80 damage counters on 80 damage counters. Put 8 damage counters on that Pokemon instead. This is okay. You can combo this with like Perilous Jungle, buff that up a little bit, but your damage is still kind of lackluster, which is the biggest problem. I wish this just did more. It's very similar to like Krogunk, but I think it does even less damage actually. So yeah, you're probably just better off playing Krogunk, but whatever. Team Rocket's Crobat EX. This is in okay card. It combos with Team Rocket's Golbat, the ability Sneaky Bite, and the ability Bite About are pretty much the same thing. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you can put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then for Golbat, it's pretty much the exact same thing, that when you play this Pokemon from your hand, you evolve from your turn, once during your turn. Where am I getting all these words? I'm like looking at all over the screen. My fault. Start from the top. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may place 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So it just makes it a little bit easier to evolve or to spread some damage. In theory, you could run some Golbats and then like stack that damage onto the stuff with Nidoking, just add those kind of prompts, but honestly, not great. That being said, you could actually play this alongside Dracopult, and that would be fine. Just to get that additional little extra damage pings would actually be pretty useful. So I could see that being a thing. But yeah, we're going to go into Team Rocket's Muck. This card is bad, but kind of fun, where it has the Sticky Mess for 40 damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, and then during your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon cannot retreat. So, you know, that's fun. Just anything that retreat locks is interesting. And then also it does have the Venom hazard. So for 2 dark and a colorless, it does 100 times damage, and the attack does 100 damage for each special condition affecting your opponent's active Pokemon. It's just a fun attack, but probably not very good. We do have Team Rocket's Coughing. I've seen some decks online that are using a bunch of different Coughings that seem kind of interesting. Maybe I'll do a deck on that later. But yeah, we have Team Rocket's Coughing with the ability Alert Smog. If this Pokemon is in your active spot and is damaged by an attack of your opponent's Pokemon, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon with Coughing in their name and put them onto the bench. What's nice is that it doesn't have to be a Team Rocket's Coughing. I think that's important to note, and this is also a thing, like if your opponent is playing Badoo, they attack into your Coughing, you get some more out. Then you can go into Team Rocket's Wheezing. For 1 dark, 1 colorless, you have All Out Explosion, and then it does 40 times damage, and it does 40 damage for each Coughing or Wheezing in like on your board. And this is actually nice because again, you can combine Team Rocket's Wheezings and regular Wheezings, or Team Rocket's Coughings, regular Coughings, and it all works the same. So you actually can get decent damage out of this. Murkrow sucks. Team Rocket's Sneasler is okay. Cynthia's Spiritomb is actually very good. We're definitely going to be seeing this because it's just a rage attack essentially, where it does 10 damage, and then this attack does 10 damage for each damage counter on your bench. Cynthia's Pokemon. This is nice because again, Garchomp can just tank a lot of damage, and so you can just switch it to the bench, bring in your Cynthia's Spiritomb, and be able to have kind of a cool revenge or like rage attacker for just a single colorless. And then hitting for dark is nice into things like your it's actually going to be really nice to be able to hit into things like Gardevoir EX and stuff like that. So yeah, Marnie's Purloin, or Liepard rather, and Purloin for that matter, they're both okay but not great. Marnie's Scrafty and Scraggly, not great. Impidimp, all this kind of stuff, not great. But Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, actually good. And mostly because it's not really good with other stuff. It's really just good in like Frostlask. But anything good with Frostlask is good with me. So it has the ability Punk Up, where when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you can search your deck for up to 5 basic Dark Energy cards and attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon in any way you like, and then shuffle your deck. So this is actually pretty nice because like it does allow you to power up your Grimmsnarl pretty quickly, but it also allows you to attack with your Grimmsnarl, and that's where you're going to be able to use the Shadow Bullet, where you do 180 damage, and this attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Comboing this with Frostlask is very good because you're going to be able to spread a whole bunch of extra damage all around, have something that's consistently attacking. It's pretty beefy, it's pretty easy to get out. Your Monkey Dories can move the damage off of it. So yeah, it's definitely very good in the Frostlask kind of combo. It'd be really nice if you could attach them to any Pokemon, not just Marnie's Pokemon. but that's fine. You can also play it with the Morpeko, where it has the spiked wheel, where it does 20 damage, and this attack does 40 more damage for each dark energy attached to this Pokemon. So you can throw one of these down and then evolve into Grimmsnarl. Just start throwing a whole bunch of energy on it if you want. Going into the Arven's Pokemon, again, they suck. Going into the Arven's Pokemon, they suck. Best part about them is that you don't have to buy them. Worst part about them is you might pull them in your packs. Going into the Stevens cards, they're also only okay. You can play Stevens Metagross CX, but there's just a lot of better ways to play it, because it's mostly just for energy acceleration, and you can just play regular Metang if that's what you're trying to do. Getting into the normal cards, Team Rocket's Persian is interesting. It has the Arrogant Command. You reveal the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck. You can choose one of the revealed Pokemon's attacks and use that attack. Your opponent then shuffles all the other cards back. That's fun. I don't think it's good, but it's fun. Maybe there's a way to make that work. I'm not sure what it would be yet, but I'd try. Again, all the other Arven's Pokemon suck. Arven Sandwich is okay. Like again, it's not really going to be used, I don't think. It'd be great if I was super wrong, though, and all the Arven's Pokemon ended up being crazy, but I don't think so. We have Cynthia's Power Weight. This card is actually good, where your Cynthia's Pokemon, this card is attached to, get plus 70 HP. This means your Garchomp is 400 HP, which is wild. We got the Hype Up, which is draw 2 cards, and then if your opponent has 3 or more prize cards remaining, draw 2 more cards. I don't think it's good, but, whatever. It's okay. It's a draw 4 in the mid to late game, so that's not the worst. Energy Recycler is good. You get to shuffle up to 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. Some decks are going to love that card. Other decks are not going to care, but I think it's very good. I would definitely pick myself up a couple of those. Ethan's Adventure. This is the card for the Ethan's deck, and it's not only important for the deck, so you can throw it in the discard pile, but it's also playable, where you get to search your deck for up to 3 in any combination of Ethan's Pokemon and basic fire energy, and then reveal them, and then put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. That's really good. It's energy search for your Typhlosions. It is your Typhlosion. If you need, again, off your Cool Lava, you're able to search this out, so it's very, very good in that regard, and just helps you speed up your game. And then if you're playing them early to speed up, that's fine, because you want them in the discard anyway. So yeah, definitely good there. The Granite Cave, again, it just makes your Stevens Pokemon a little bit more tanky, but nobody cares about that. We get a new art for Judge. That's pretty cool. Can't complain about that. I mean, I hate the card art, but never going to be upset to see new card arts. We do have the Secret Ash. This card's also very good. You get to shuffle up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. It's pretty useful. I still think Super Rod is better, but I would still pick myself up a couple of copies of these, because for some decks, this is just going to be the optimal choice. We do have the Spike Mount Cannon Gym. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a Marnie's Pokemon, reveal it, put it in their hand, and then shuffle their deck. This is good because, again, you want to be able to get to your Grimmsnarls and stuff like that, so definitely a good card. A lot of the Team Rockets cards suck, but a lot of their supporters are great. Starting with this one, Team Rockets Archer is very good, where you can play this card from your hand if any of your Team Rockets Pokemon were knocked out during your last turn. Each player shuffles their hand in their deck, then you draw 5 and they draw 3. This is nice. It's literally just Unfair Stamp as a supporter, which is pretty interesting. We have Team Rockets Ariana, which is also pretty good. You can draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand, and then if all your Pokemon in play are Team Rockets Pokemon, you draw until you have 8. This is pretty good, especially if you're just playing a Team Rockets deck already, but you can also combo that alongside the next card we're going to talk about, which is Team Rockets Factory. Once during your turn, if that Pokemon, Once during your turn, if that player, I am spacing out so hard. What is happening to me? I'm just looking at a white screen, so it's like getting harder to read as I keep going. Like and comment, subscribe, so I can gain YouTube algorithm money, so I can fix my eyes after doing this. Once during your turn, If that player... What? Alright, gotta start from the top. My dyslexia is killing me right now. I'm not gonna edit this out, but I probably should. Once during each player's turn, if that player played a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name from your hand during their turn, that player may draw 2 cards. That's really, really good because, again, combo that with Ariana means, or Ariana, that means that not only are you getting 8 cards if you have all Team Rocket's Pokemon, but if you have this down, that you're really getting 10 if you had an empty hand, which is very, very, very good. A lot can be done with that, and just in general, it's very powerful. So, you know, definitely this is going to be very good. Just getting 2 cards, again, even if you're playing something like the Archer, you're getting 7 cards really rather than 5. So that's definitely very good. Team Rocket's Giovanni is also good. It's literally just Prime Catcher if you have Team Rocket's Pokemon. And then again, it's even a +2 if you have the factory down, which is great. Team Rocket's Great Ball is whatever. You flip a coin. If head, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon or an evolution Team Rocket's Pokemon. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If tails, search your deck for a basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. Reveal it, put it into your hand. I'm just going to play Nest Ball or Ultra Ball. I'm not coin flipping. It's just Aroma, capturing Aroma. But if you want to play it, you're more than welcome to. I'm not going to, but Team Rocket's Intruder Robot. This is also not good, but it's okay. You can choose one of your opponent's face-down prize cards and a random card from your opponent's hand. The opponent reveals their card, and you may have your opponent switch the revealed cards. You're never going to play this, but it's kind of wacky. You also have a card that is good, which is Team Rocket's Receiver. You can search your deck for a supporter card with Team Rockets in its name, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. This is just a better Call Bell. It's a better Pal Pad. It's just, you know, grab the supporter you want right away. That's very, very good because you can also combo it not only with the other cards that we've seen before, but you can also combo it with the Team Rocket's Petrol. This is also a very good combo because Team Rocket's Petrol is just the old Skyla, where you search your deck for a trainer card, reveal it, put it into your hand. This is nice if you need a guaranteed supporter card on your next turn that you really want, but more importantly, let's say I need an Ultra Ball and I have Team Rocket's Receiver. Well, I can go Team Rocket's Receiver, find Petrol, play Petrol, grab that, and that's like guaranteed, rather than something like Arvin where the Team Rocket's Receiver won't find it, so then I have to just like hope to top deck it, or off a Pal Pad I have to hope that it's in my top 7. We also have Team Rocket's Proton, where if you go first, you may play this card during your first turn, which is always good in text we like to see. And then you can search your deck for up to 3 basic Team Rocket's Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. This is really nice. If you're going first, it gets you, your Spidops is prepared. It gets you your Mewtwo. It can get you your Articuno, whatever. So it's definitely very good. We also see Team Rocket's Venture Bomb. This card is good and bad, I guess. I feel like a lot of us are going to just be playing this in every deck we can, just for the wackiness of it, but also because the 20 damage does matter if it works. So you flip a coin. If heads, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If tails, put 2 damage counters on one of your active Pokemon. This is fine. If you're playing Dracobolt, you may as well just play this, coin flip it, and just see if you can start sniping out like 80 HP stuff on the bench. There's really no reason not to. If you take a little damage, like, who cares? You're either surviving or you're getting one shot anyway in this current meta. So the damage you take is minuscule in comparison to how much advantage you get if you do flip heads. Now, if you're me, you're going to flip tails every time, but you're also an extreme gambling addict. So I'm going to end up playing this card probably as like a 3 of in a whole bunch of decks, even if it doesn't matter or require it. Team Rocket's Watchtower. I love this card. I'm going to be playing it with Slacking. Slacking is going to be one of my favorite decks going into this new format because if the colorless Pokemon in play, you and your opponent have no ability, which means no Rotom Fan, no Pidgeot, no Slacking turning it, not being able to attack because your opponent doesn't have any EXs. What else is there? No Noctowl being a thing. Like, all that kind of stuff gets turned off, and that's so big. Oh, no to Dunsparce either. So, yeah, it's a huge issue for a lot of decks. I think this card is going to be very, very good and very impactful. I'm going to be playing it, again, in Slowking, but also probably as like a 1 of or 2 of in a lot of decks as well. I feel like this card is going to be really impactful. On the flip side, TM Machine, this card sucks. You search your deck for up to 3 basic, or sorry, you search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon tool cards with Tactical Machine in their name, and then reveal them, and then put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. There's a tool drop Garbodor that's cool, that like you get to discard the item cards from your hand. And like in that case, it's cool, but outside of that, kind of sucks. Probably never gonna play this. Even with the Rotom deck, I don't see a value in playing this. You could play like Reverum EX, where you get to have a bunch of extra like tool cards, but even then, it's like not worth much because they're gonna get discarded after, so it's way less valuable. Team Rocket's Energy. This card's actually good. If this card can only be attached to a Team Rocket's Pokemon, which is for balancing purposes, but it is good. If this card is attached to any other Pokemon, discard this card. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 energy in any combination of Psychic and Dark Energy. It's just to power up your Mewtwo. Yeah, it's pretty much just to power up Mewtwo. But it's very good for doing that purpose, so definitely going to need 4 of these if you are going to run that deck. But yeah, that's going to be the rundown of the list. Probably later on in the week, or as we get a little closer, I'll do like a top 5 cards out of this that I think are going to be the most impactful and very good. There's a lot in this set to be very, very excited about, so definitely let me know what you're the most excited about. I'm going to be playing so much Slacking and Ethan's Typhlosion. I'm so excited for this card. I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of that. And that's going to be my main thing. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I'm going to go and not look at a screen for a little while and get eyes that work and a brain that can read. So I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you so much. Be sure to let me know what you guys want to see next on the channel, and also what cards you're looking forward to, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.